process and we can go for the project building. We need to adapt the process, obviously. Right. So when you are adapting the process, so if the customer is coming on X day, that is today is some 24th of February. And if the customer is coming on 24th of March 2025 and asking for the project status, so is the manager can able to give the status? If you are adapting to SDLC, is the manager can able to give the answer to the customer? Yes. Is the manager could able to give some answer? So either we have gathered the requirements or we have gone for the planning, either we have gone for the designing, or only one phase, still we are going for requirements gathering, only this phase is only currently we are running with. So like that, can he give the solution? That is, can he give the answer for the customer? Or he cannot give the answer? He can provide the answer, right? For the customer. So how it is possible? When you are adopting your SDLC, you could be able to know what is the present status of your project. That is, whether the requirements are being gathered or it is in planning stage, it is in the construction stage, or it is in design stage, it is in coding stage, or it is in testing, maintenance, or whatever the stage it is. You could be able to easily understand with the help of your SDLC model. So what are the benefits? That is, first benefit that we are going to get is your improved project planning and management. Okay. So when you are planning something else, that is in 6 months, we are going to complete the complete requirements gathering. You should be able to complete that particular process. Right. So when we are going for SDLC, that is when we are adopting SDLC models, the improved project planning and management is happening. Right. So how many members need to come into a particular project and how many are to be included in a particular project? Everything can be known with the help of your planning. Right. So as of now, if you are thinking that only 25 to 30 members are enough for the project, and if you are adopting only 25 to 30 members and you are executing that particular project, that is, you are trying to execute that particular project, and out of sudden, few people are missing, then again, you can include those people who are missing in the project, and again, you can go for the forward. Okay. So once the planning is there, the execution will come automatically, right? So the time may be vary, but the execution will go on in a smoother manner. But if without planning, if you are going for any project execution or any project completion, it will be going into some other place. That is not successful. Right. So for enhanced quality and reliability of the software, also we are going for the SDLC models. Okay. So for better risk management, that is once the project is being already deployed or it is under construction or it is under development, once you are getting any kind of risk, it can be solved when you are following your SDLC models, because you know where the errors are coming, whether it is coming in planning model, that is when you are going for planning, whether the errors are coming, that is risks are coming, or when you are going for design, the risks are coming, or when you are going for the deployment, the risks are coming. Like that, you could be able to easily understand and identify. Then you can go for your solutions. That is, you can go for your better risk management. Right. So when you are adopting this particular thing, that is the SDLC model, you could be easily able to go for your documentation as well. So what is the process that we are adopting? What is what that we are doing as of now, and how to go for the betterments? All these things you can keep it in a document. That is, proper documentation can also be done with the help of your SDLC models. Right. And you can easily predict and manage the timelines and budgets. Okay. So what is the budget as on date is assigned, and what is the timeline as on date is assigned for a project, and how can we complete the complete project in this particular duration of time? We can go and do all the things in a stipulated timeline. These are the benefits that we are going to get when we are going for adopting the SDLC model. Okay. So then we have seen the process versus the methodology. So what is the process is going and what is the methodology is doing? What we are doing in the process and what we are doing in methodology. So what is a process is covering? Process. So it is covering a wide range of activities. Then what about your methodology? So when you are trying to do a planning, it is covering all the aspects related to this particular planning. Right. So when you are adopting your methodology, it is focusing on the detailed steps within a specific activity. Okay. So when you are going for planning or when you are going for design, when you are going for any kind of activities, it is going to give us the detailed description about what we are trying to do and what we are adopting to do. Right. So then we have seen the SDLC model, that is first SDLC model according to our syllabus, which is our waterfall model. So where you are having this picture from our textbook. So first it is having feasibility study, requirements analysis and specification. Then we are having design, coding and testing, integration and system testing, and then we have maintenance. Is the process same, starting from communication phase to the deployment phase? Is the process same? Right? So what you are doing in feasibility study, what you are doing or what you are about to do in a feasibility study when you are doing a project. So you might be having your own ideas for doing projects, right? So some might be choosing AI as domain, or some might be choosing ML as domain, some might be choosing blockchain technology as domain, some might be choosing some other thing, that is SC as one of your domain for your doing the projects. Okay. So when you are doing so many kinds of domains, that is so much of projects you are interested in do, and you are choosing or picking up a particular domain. Say, for example, you are choosing AI and you are about to execute your project, right? So what is the first step that you are going to do? So your domain is fixed. You have fixed it to your AI. Okay. And you are about do a project with related to the domain called AI. Then what is the next step that you are going to do? First step you have completed successfully completed, that is choosing your domain. So you are about to do your project of software engineering with the help of AI domain or blockchain technology or software engineering module or your machine learning or whatever it is. Okay. So what you need to do next. Yeah, before requirements gathering, you have to choose one topic. Just now, you have chosen only your domain. Domain is fixed. That is AI is fixed. You have not fixed your topic. So you have to fix your title. Okay. When you are doing your project, you have to fix your title. So the project may be ATM systems related to AI or the library management system in relation with AI or hospitality management systems with related to AI or a railway reservation system with respect to AI or blockchain technology or ML. Like that, you have to choose your topic, right? So once the topic is chosen, then what you are going to do? Is it the first time that you are doing? That is, whatever the topic that you are choosing as so whatever the topic that I have said. So after the first time topics that you are doing for the projects are already available. Some parties available. So railways reservation systems, is it available? Library management system, is it available? So we are having titles. We are also having some gap of the seniors who have done the projects with related to the railway management system or library management system or whatever the topic that we are choosing. Right. So first you are fixing your title. So once your title is fixed, then you will be typing your entire title into your Google or ChatGPT or whatever the search engine is available. You will be typing that particular title. Then you will be displaying multiple number of options. Okay, you will be displaying multiple number of options. Okay. So once you are giving your title, so it will display you multiple options. Right. So based on those options, whatever that are available, you will be putting in the question. You will be putting the question. You will be taking the entire document or part of the document as reference. project, and you will be copying it in one documentation, that is in one document, and again you will be coming back here and you will be opening the second document, it is second link, again you will be copying the text, you will be keeping it over there, then you will be going for the third link, fourth link, n links you are going to open and you are going to go for the copy. Then you are going to go for your identifications where the okay. So you will be able to identify the gaps when you are going to test for at least 10 to 15 papers which are related to your topic. Right. So then you will be identifying your backlogs, that is your problem. Then you will be going for your solution. Okay. So when you are going for solution, you will be processing all these things. That is requirement analysis, specification, design, including implementation, testing, and maintenance. So before that, you are going to check for your financial needs and your previous okay, financial needs. You are going to check and your all the other needs that are required for the project that you are going to check that process whatever you are doing over there is called your feasibility specs. Okay, so we are going to prefer for the study of a particular topic before we are entering into the process, and then we are going to go for your requirements gathering and specification. Then you are going for your planning and designing, coding, testing, and maintenance. All these together we are going to undergo once the topic is being chosen. Okay. So then we have seen the iterative process models. It is iterative model. So is it the first model or is it the extension model? So model? It is the extension of the waterfall model where the iteration process is taking place from one place to the other place, one phase to the other phase. If you are failing in one phase, you can go and check back with your availabilities where we are lagging, and again you can go back for the complete process of your requirement space design, coding, testing, integration, and maintenance that we can right. So then we have seen V model, right? So it is one of the variant of the waterfall model where you are having V kind of structure, that is V kind of architecture for the waterfall model. Right. So left half of waterfall model is going to have your development phases, and right half of the waterfall model, that is V shape, you are going to have the validation process. Okay. So what is going to be the verification process? This kind of stages is verification, and this kind of stages is your validation process. Okay. So in verification, you are verifying your requirement analysis and specification. Then you are going for your system testing. Then you are going for your high level testing, integration testing, including unit test designs. Right. So you're starting from your own testing to the group of testing, and verifying at each and every stage towards the left side face and towards right side face. Again, you are going for unit testing, that is testing of yourself with your own code. Then you are going for your integration testing. Then you are going for your system testing. So this is the process what we are adopting in the V model. Okay. So in then we have seen the differences between the V model and the waterfall model. What are the differences that we are having for waterfall model and the V model? This is we have seen in our previous class. So where in V model you could be able to go for the parallel testing of the events. That is parallel testing activities you can carry, and better quality test cases also you carry in the V model. That is the advantage of V model over the waterfall model. Right. So this is what we have seen in our previous class in yesterday's right. So in today's class, we will start prototyping. Okay. So are we clear? After the previous class, whatever we have seen in our previous class. So simply we have seen the definition of software engineering. What is the practice? What is the engineering practice that we are adopting? Right. And then we have seen the different kinds of So then we have seen the different kinds of how the software has come into the existence from 1980s to 1980s. Then we have seen the SDLC, this waterfall model, sorry, life cycle model, and then we have seen the importance of life cycle model, and then we have seen the SDLCs. What is the SDLC? What is the role of SDLC? And how the SDLC is useful for the users? That we have seen. And then we have seen the iterative models like your waterfall model. Sorry. We have seen the SDLC models like your waterfall model, iterative waterfall model, V model. And we have seen the difference between process and methodology. And then we have seen the V model versus waterfall model. So this is what we have seen. Right. So in today's class, we will see it's right. So the definition comes up with the prototyping analysis. A prototyping model is an instance of your waterfall model. Okay. So the prototyping model is also the extension of your waterfall model. Right. So where you are having it is the environment building us a working prototype of the system before delivering the actual software. So what it is giving and what it is doing, we are going to create a prototype that is what kind of prototype we are going to be working prototype. Okay. Working prototype must be built before we are going to be developing the actual software. Right. So once the actual figure or the figure is being identified, then only are going to answer your problem. Right. So then what are the characteristics that we are having in the prototype? Right. So a prototype is a clear implementation of system with limited functional capabilities. So it is having a limited functionality. Okay. So when you are going for the lower reliability and inefficiency performance compared to the actual software, then you are going to go for your this particular prototyping. That is, you are testing whether it is going to be covered properly or not, whether it is going to be implemented, limited functionalities, capabilities, and all those things we are going to check, and then we are going to go for the execution. Right. And we are also going to focus on smart series. That is, so code generation languages for the development and for the prototyping of the particular product. Okay. So so what is necessary? Right. So what is necessary for doing any particular prototyping? What is required to complete the prototyping? What is required for completing a prototype? Yes, what is required for drawing an architecture? In which phase you are going to get your architecture from design? Second phase or third phase? So you are having requirement analysis, then planning, and then you design. So what you design, here we are saying it as okay. So what is coming in prototype, it is dealing with your design. Right. So when you are dealing with your design, so we are dealing this working prototype. So whatever the architecture that is being shown to the customer, it has coming to the existing. That is, it has to be completed with related to software, hardware, or with related to part and all these things has to be finished. Right. So working prototype has to be built before they are doing the actual software. Working has to be done. So when the working has to be done, what we are in need of, what is necessary, what are the requirements for completing this particular that is architecture? What is required? So once you are going for your design, okay. So what are the phases that you are completing earlier before the design? Agreed. What you are doing before you are going for your design? Planning. So first you gathering the requirements, then you are going to planning. So once you are clear with the planning, so what are your plannings? You are planning technically, you are planning financially, you are planning with related to development, you are planning with related to science, everything you are planning, then you are going for the working property. That is, it has to certain of existence, after which you are going to do some techniques. That is the only reason when you are going to that is your design or architecture. Right. So what are the necessary things? That is the development unit and technical uncertainty unit and iteration is. So what we are doing in GUI, so what are the interfaces that are relevant to your project that you are discussing and that you are coming up with? Then you are going to check with your technical uncertainty. Then you are going to go for the iterative improvement. That is, when you are testing for your project, you are going to find out your mistakes that are bugs in the project. Then you are going for the iteration. That is, when you are having errors, you are going to rectify them and you are going to go for the solution. Okay. So this is what you are doing in the prototyping unit. Right. So this is the architecture of what a prototyping unit is. So what we are doing, we are going for the requirements gathering. Then we are going for big design. Then again we are going to go for the building a prototype. Then we are going for the customer evaluation. That is, once the diagram is drawn, that is architecture is completed, you are going to show it to the customer. If he is going to accept, then you are going to go for the customer suggestions. That is, once the customer is going to accept this particular prototype and the document, that is architecture, then only you will be able to go for your design, right? So here you are building a process, that is you are building a prototype, that is you are drawing a diagram related to that particular project, then you are going into the customer. If the customer accepts, then you are going to go for your execution. If the customer is going to give you some suggestions, then again you are going to go for your design. Okay. So whatever the suggestions that the customer is giving, that you need to accept, and again you have to go for your design. And this process is going to be continued until the customer is going to accept. So once the customer is going to accept your prototype, that is your design or architecture, then you are going to go for your design, implementation, test, and maintenance. So this is how the process is going to be when you are going to deal with your prototyping. Okay. Okay. So once you are gathering your requirements, so you are available with n number of requirements that are available with the user. So once the requirements are gathered, then you are going for the design based on the requirements that are given by the user. Then you are going to go for the architecture. So once the architecture is clear, that is the architecture is gone, and once the customer is going to accept you the architecture, then it is going for the further limits. If the customer is giving any kind of suggestions, again you are going to go for the modifications in your design. That is your prototype. Then you are again process is going to be iterated. That is you are going to show again it to the customer. Then he is going to give the suggestions or he is going to accept. Once the customer is going to accept, then they are going to go for the design, implementation, test, and maintenance. Okay. So you can draw this later. So this is the prototyping model of software development. You can take the diagram. ఆ జూమ్ రావట్లేదు అమ్మా నేను అక్కడ ట్రై చేసిన మీరు ట్రై చేస్తా అంటే ట్రై చేయండి జూమ్ రావట్లేదు అది మీరు షేర్ చేసినారు కదా నేను అక్కడ ట్రై చేసిన అక్కడ కూడా సేమ్ ప్రాబ్లం ఫస్ట్ చేసిన స్లైడ్స్ ఏమో కొంచెం జాగ్రత్తగా చేసినాము, తర్వాత టైం లేకుంటే డయాగ్రామ్స్ అన్ని పెట్టేసుకున్నాం. జూమ్ రావట్లేదు. కంట్రోల్ ప్లస్ ప్లస్. ఈసారి అసలు వచ్చి జూమ్ చేయలేము కదా. రాదు ఇంకా. స్లైడ్ షోకి వెళ్ళిపోయిందంటే జూమ్ రాదు ఇంకా. స్లైడ్ షోకి వెళ్ళిపోయినా జూమ్ రాదు. ఇక్కడ కూడా సేమ్ ప్రాబ్లం కదా, అక్కడ కూడా సేమ్ అదే అసలు జూమ్ అవ్వదు. సార్ ఇంకా ఇక్కడ ఏం లేవు. చెప్పిన ప్రాసెస్ సేమ్ చెప్తారు, అదే వాళ్ళు డ్రా చేయాలి. ఏముంది అనేది కావాలంటే మళ్ళీ డిక్టేట్ చేస్తారు. అది రాదు, ఇట్లా జూమ్ రాదు. రైట్ రైట్. So this one you are having it as requirements gathering, right? So those who are unable to see, so the first one is requirements gathering. Then you are going for design. Okay, requirements gathering is in this one. Second one is design. So towards right side you are going for building project, right? That is build. Okay. So first it is requirements gathering, we make design, then build with time, then you are coming up customer evaluation of customer evaluation of customer evaluation of right. So towards right side it is refine requirements, incorporating customer suggestions, refine requirements, incorporating customer suggestions, refine requirements, incorporating customer suggestions. Correct. So this is a cycle. Okay, that is a cycle. So this is a cycle. So from right side to its left side, that is. So you have to give the design to build prototype to customer evaluation, then customer evaluation design to refine requirements, and refine requirements to your customer design. So that is the arrow marks. How your diagram is. So from customer evaluation, you can go for design. So in between, you can write it as acceptance by customer. Acceptance by customer. Okay. Acceptance by customer. Right. So then you are going for design. Design is the next phase. Then implement is the next phase. Then test. Then maintenance. Right. Design, implement, test, and maintenance. So these are the phases of your prototype. So after the customer acceptance, So you can keep the arrows and write it as development. Zoom option. Clear. So after the customer acceptance, it is prototype development. What we are doing, we are developing a prototype. Once it is approved by the customer, then we are going for the further process. The second step is the second stage is iterative development, where you are having iterations of the process. So once the design is finished, you are going for implementation. Implementation is done. Testing is done. Maintenance. So once you are getting any kind of errors in maintenance, you are going and asking your testing team. So if they are giving you the solution, then it is well and good. So if they are unable to give you give you the solution, then they are going to test with the implementation team. So where the buildings and all those things are being written, then you are going for your design. So whether we are having any issues with the design and all, we are going to check. So if it is going to be okay, then it is well and good. Otherwise, the process is going to be again iterate. Okay. So this is what is going to be happening in the your typing. Okay. So prototype development is first part, and iterative development is your second. Right. So what are so prototyping is done. That is architecture is designed. Right. So customer is satisfied with the architecture and with the efforts that are being done by the manager and the team. Then what are the guidelines? So we can easily understand and we can better understand the particular topic or product. We can easily understand that is better understanding of that particular type or project, whatever we are doing, right? So by now it's going to be understood to the customers, we can explain it very well. To the ourselves, we can explain it to the very well. That is, the investment is a better understanding of customer needs. In action with the documents that is our design. Okay. So we are making the user to understand. Design is user, design is clear for the customer, then the customer is going to accept that particular diagram or the architecture, then we can go for the further procedures. Okay. So better understanding, we are using this particular prototyping model and technical risk mitigation. Right. So when we are going for iterative process model, we are getting testing, designing, implementation, management, and all the other phases we are coming up. Right. So when we are going for all those phases, we are having, if we are having any issues, then we can go for easily the risk management. Okay. So if you are getting any risk in the design phase, then you are accepting it and then you are doing it. So if you are getting any risk after the design also, then you are going to go for the design and then you are going to go for the solution. If you are going to go for the next stage, then you are also able to understand where the risks are coming and you can able to easily model. Okay. So for easy risk mitigation, that is technical risk mitigation, we are using or it is helpful for the users. That is prototyping model. Right. And for improved communication. Right. So for better communication in between customer and the manager or customer and the stakeholders, we are using this particular prototyping model. And for user feedback. Okay. So we can easily give the user feedback. That is, we can easily get the feedback from the users when we are going for your prototyping model. So how you are going to get your feedbacks? Are you going to get it in the regular intervals or all of a sudden you are going to get the feedbacks? How you are going to get your feedbacks from the customers? How you are going to get your feedbacks? Regular intervals or Duration of period is there. Duration of period. Regular intervals, you are not getting your feedbacks. So once the design is finished, once you are showing it to the customer, are you getting any feedbacks? That is, any modifications or any suggestions that are being coming from the customer are going to be said to be as your feedbacks. So you are getting as soon as the design is finished, or sometime after your design is finished before showing it to the customer, or after showing it to the customer, after few days he is coming up with any suggestions. So once you are showing your document or design to the customer, he is coming up with your feedbacks. That is suggestions that are required or improvements that are needed for the project. Okay. So user feedback, for user feedback, and for improved communication, and for technical risk mitigation, and for better understanding, we are going for the prototyping models. Okay. So these are the four different advantages that we are available with for the prototyping. Right. So as we are having advantages, we also have the drawbacks. So what are the drawbacks? Let us see. Right. So resource intensive. Right. So what is the drawback? So we are having resource intensive. That is, developing and refining prototypes can be resource intensive and time consuming. What is happening? So once your design is finished, you are showing it to your customer. So even though you are not having the resources, the customer is forcing on you to go with that particular resource. Right. So at that time, what is your situation? So you're not having that book, or you're not having that resource to do the project, but the customer is asking you.
Hello, 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 hello. Can you USB layer बनानी है? Hello, 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 check, hello, hello, check, hello, check, hello, 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 check, hello, hello, check, hello, 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 check, hello, 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 check, hello, 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 check, hello, hello, check, hello, 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 check, hello, hello, check, hello, hello, check, hello, hello, check, hello, check, hello, hello, check, hello, hello, check, hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, check, check, hello, 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 check, check, hello, hello, hello. Still on the hello, 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 check, check, hello, 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 check, check, hello, 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 check, check, check. Testing 1 2 3, hello, hello, hello.
The acceptance also we are having several drawbacks and several advantages. Okay. So then we will see the incremental development model. Okay. So prototyping model is clear. So what you are doing in prototyping model? Prototyping model, what you are doing? Yes, once you are clear, you have to answer. So what you are doing in prototyping model? Yes, when you are going to get your prototype, hey, two things will happen here. Either you understood completely and you are not giving the answer, or you have not understood anything. Two options are there. First option, second option. First option, you are going with first option, then you have to give the answer. When you are going for your prototyping model, after which phase you are going for your prototyping, that is your design. After which phase you are going for your design phase. After which phase you are going for your design phase. What are the phases before your design phase? After analysis and planning, you are going for your design phase. So what you are showing to the customer in design phase? What you are showing to the customer in design phase? So you are showing a pictorial representation which is called as your architecture or prototype for the customer. So if the prototype is accepted by the customer, then what you are doing? Then you are going for your design phase, that is going for your further stages like implementation or code writing, and if you are having any drawbacks in the design phase, you are going to overcome all those things. So what are the advantages of your design phase? What are the advantages of having design? So what are the advantages of design, that is prototyping? So once you are showing your diagram, that is your architecture to the customer. So even if you are writing some thousands of lines, he cannot understand anything. But once you are showing one pictorial representation, he can easily understand what you are intended to do and what you are trying to do as a project to the customer. Okay. So for better understanding, we are going for the to go for the avoidance. Okay, so risks are going to be mitigated. That is, they are going to be reduced, or they are going to be completely eliminated when you are going to go for your prototyping model, because you are showing it in pictorial representation. If you are having any mistakes, then you are going to go for the mistakes removal. That is risk test, sorry, technical risk mitigation that you are doing in the prototyping model. Then what is the advantage? One more advantage. So just now we have said, even if you are writing thousands of lines or thousands of sentences, it is not worthy. Once you are showing one diagram or two diagrams to your customer, then he is going to accept you with your explanation. Condition is you have to explain what you are trying to do with the diagram. Okay. So if you are showing this diagram, okay, this is your project, take this, go. Like that, if you are going to say, he is not going to accept. He is going to accept when you are going to show the proper picture and proper explanation of that particular picture. Later, he may come up with the multiple number of people who are well educated to know about this particular project. Okay. So for better and improved performance or improved communication, you are going to go for this particular prototyping model. So for getting the user feedback also, you are going to go for this particular prototyping model. So, okay, these are the four different advantages that we are having. What are those four? Better understanding, technical risk mitigation, improved communication, and user feedback. These are the four advantages of drawing, or four advantages of having a prototype model in your project. Then as we are having advantages, we will also have the drawbacks, that is disadvantages. So what is the first disadvantage? So that is, when a customer is coming to the organization or to the manager, he is expecting something. Okay. So even though you are showing multiple diagrams or single diagram, he is also expecting something else apart from the diagram which you are showing. Okay. So once the user is going for the neediness, then it is leading to the mislead. Okay. So user intention is for resources is happening. Once the user's intentions are modifying, then your project is also going for the misleading. Okay. So then, which is also leading to the misleading of the performance. That is, user is expecting something else, but whatever the diagram you have shown is the requirements gathering after the planning itself. Sorry, after planning, you are going for your design. So before planning, you have done the requirements gathering from the customer, but still he is expecting something apart from the requirements that he has given at the beginning. Okay. So due to that, it is leading to the performance, right? So you have shown with one diagram, but the customer is asking for the one more diagram where you are unable to go for the product delivery. Okay. Or else he is going for additional features with the same diagram. Okay, which is leading to the misleading of performance. And when he is asking for the more number of features, it is also leading to the functionality mislead or functionality incomplete, because his expectations are more than whatever we are producing. Okay, so those are the drawbacks or disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? First thing is resource intention. Second one is mislead performance. The third one is incomplete functionalities. Three drawbacks are there, and four advantages are also there. Right. So once we are clear with this one, we can move on to your incremental incremental development model. So are we clear with the prototyping model? Yes. Still we are not getting any answers. Last few benches, we are unable to hear you, man. Complete boys are there, but we are not getting any response. Is it clear? Right. So once it is clear, we can move on to your incremental model. So the incremental life cycle model involves developing software in increments. Okay, how we are going to go for the incremental model? We are going to go for the incremental model one level after the other, or one model after the, so one level after the other level, or one thing after the other, we are going to go. That is, we are going to increment adding more functionalities. So when you are going to go for your incremental development model, so whatever the requirements that are coming from the customer, you can add n number of additions. The condition is one functionality is finished, then you can go and add up with another functionality. So once he is coming with the another functionality, you can also go with the another functionality, and you can add that particular functionality to your existing product. Okay, so that is the advantage over here in incremental life cycle model. So it involves developing software in increments, with each increment adding more functionality. You are going to add more and more functionalities in your increment development model, right? So here we are also having two different characteristics. One is incremental development, that is, you are going to go for the requirements are split into increments. So whatever the requirements are there from the customer end, they are going to be in increments. That is, they are going to be written as one after the other, or given priority. First priority is for one requirement, second priority is for another requirement, third priority is for another requirement, fourth priority, fifth priority, like that. The users, that is the developers, are going to give the priorities for the requirements that are being given by the customer, and then they are going to add those requirements into the model. Okay, right? So requirements are split into increments, and each increment is developed and delivered to the customer iteratively, right? So whatever the requirements are there from the customer end, they are going to do it, and they are going to develop it in a iterative manner. So they are going to satisfy the customer in each and every step, each and every functionality, right? So then core features are going to be first. That is, the topmost priority functionalities are there. Whatever the requirements of the users are given the first priority or the topmost priority, those requirements are going to be functioned first. That is, those features are going to be developed first, and they are going to be shown to the customer first. Okay, so the least priorities are going to take more time for its development. Okay, so the life cycle activities include your modular approach, planning, iterative development. Again, you'll be going for your design, testing, maintenance, and all those phases as same. Okay, so here you can see these things. That is, incremental software development is going to have your increments of functionalities. That is, you are taking up the functionality of user one at a time. So once it is done, then you are going for the second one. So if you could able to see the first one, yeah. So here it is indicated with white layer. So one functionality of the user is satisfied. So once the one functionality or one requirement of the user is satisfied, then they are going to go for the second one. So which is indicated in second level. A and B, we are going to add more features or more increments to this particular functionality. And in the next one, we are going to go for the further level. That is, three requirements are there. We are going to add first increment, second increment, and third increment. So what will be the diagram for the next one? That is, if the user is having four functionalities, if the user is going to have four functionalities, what will be the figure? So another node will be taken, and which is inserted over the C. Okay. This one we are going to cover it, and we are going to make it as D. Okay. And we are going to differentiate with the color coding. Okay. So what is the advantage over here? What is the advantage of your increment development model? So how you are doing it? So it is based on the user's requirement and user's priority we are doing. So when you are doing, that is, the job is of your interest, how the output will be? So when you are doing the job of your choice, you will be involving more, and you will be doing your job very effectively, right? And perfectly also, you will be able to do that particular job. So when you are going to go for your incremental software development, Is it finished? Is drawing the diagram is finished, completed from your end? Right. So once it is done, we can move on to the next one. That is our evolutionary model. Okay. So what is an evolutionary model is? So coming to the definition, the evolutionary life cycle model involves developing software over a number of increments. Okay. Developing a software over a number of increments similar to our incremental model. So what we are doing in evolutionary model, we are coming up with the evolution of more and more models. That is, we are going to go for the developing software over the multiple number of increments. Okay. So which is also requiring, so which is also having the requirements, plan, estimations, and solutions evolve over the iterations. So finally, what we are giving a complete solution to a particular problem or product. So based on the requirements, planning, estimations, and final solutions. So the process is also again going to involve the complete phases of life cycle model, starting from the communication phase till the deployment phase. Okay. So here the characteristics involve the incremental development again and the continuous refinement. That is, so when you are going to go for adding more and more increments, you are also going to go for the refinements. That is, continuous error sortings are there and continuous error solvings are also there. So when you are comparing with your incremental model, so incremental model complete requirements are developed first and documented in as SRS. So when you are going for incremental model, you are going with developing and doing it for the just like what we are doing in SRS. Okay. So complete requirements are developed first and then you are going to go for the documentation when you are going in incremental model. So when you are going for the evolutionary model, requirements and solutions evolve over iterations. Okay. So when you are going in incremental model, you are going with the documentation just like SRS and you are going for solutions. When you are going with the evolutionary models, requirements and solutions evolve over iterations. As the iterations are going to increase, that is, as the number of iterations are going to increase, our solutions are also going to increase. That is, the requirements and evolution, sorry, requirements and solutions evolve over iterations rather than being fully defined and frozen outputs. Okay. So these are the advantages of evolutionary process model. So you can check with the evolutionary process model how it is. So here we are having rough requirement specifications, just like our life cycle phases. We are identifying the core and other parts to be developed. Then we are identifying the development core and part of using as iterative waterfall model. Then we are going for the collection. Then we are going for the development, and then we are going for the maintenance. So this is what is happening in the evolutionary process models. Okay. So here we are going with the rough requirement specification, what is required for the user. Then we are going for the identification of core. So what are topmost priority and what are the least priorities we could be able to understand, and we could be able to develop the core part using the iterative waterfall model. That is, whatever the priority is being given as the topmost, that model we are developing at the first one. Then we are going to go for the last priority as the last evolution. That is, last increment for the given project. Okay. So then we are going to collect the customer feedback again, and then we are going to go for the solutions, and then we are going to develop the next identified futures using the customer's feedback, and then we are going to go for the maintenance when all the needs are met. Okay. So what is the advantage over here in evolutionary process model? Are we completely satisfying the user? So are we completely satisfying the users? So how we are satisfying the users? So the process is same, just like our waterfall model, but the advantage or the additional feature, whatever we are doing it here is priorities we are identifying and we are doing the process based on the priorities for the customers. Okay. So then we are coming on to the advantages. The effective elicitation and customer requirements is going to be more when we are going for the evolutionary process model. So that is, you are going to go for the requirements analysis and you are going to go for the elicitation. Okay. So you are going to get the requirements, you are going to go for the elaborating those requirements, and then you are going to go for your functionalities when you are going to go with your evolutionary process models. Right. So then it is easy handling of change requests. So once the customer is coming and asking for the changes, that is easy change. That is, once the customer is coming and asking you for the change, you can easily go for the change, as the easy handling of change request is accepted in your evolutionary process model, because we are going with one nature after other, that is one function after the other one. So once the user is asking for any change, you can go for changing of those particular needs, right? So when you are having advantages, you are also having drawbacks. So the first drawback here is future division complexity. Okay. So as you are executing the project in priority based, so first priority is being done first, second is done next, third is done next, and based on your priorities, you are executing your n number of functionalities within the evolutionary model. So once the future aspect comes, so this functionality, whatever you are giving it as topmost priority, is it going to work for the future generation or not, you are going to check. So if it is going to be valid, that is, if it is going to be accepted, then our program is successful. If it is not going to be accepted, then our program is not successful. That is, our product is not acceptable by the market or not accepted within the market. Right. So that is, future division complexity is there when you are doing with the evolutionary process model, because you are doing it in the increments based on the priorities. Right. So the ad hoc design is also there, because you are going with the more and more functionalities requirements. That is, you are giving the priority and you are trying to execute that particular priority. You are not going in a sequence. So sorry, first process I have to adopt this, second process I have to adopt this, third process I have to adopt this. In this way, we are not going. So whatever the topmost priority is there, that is, once you are identifying your requirements, 1, 2, 3, and you are giving the numbers up to n, but when you are trying to execute the program or when you are trying to execute your process, you are giving the priority for the nth value as first and you are trying to execute the functionality as first. Okay. So when you are doing this one, you are adapting to the ad hoc design. You are not going in a sequence. First, you are trying to execute first functionality, second functionality, third functionality, fourth functionality. You are not going in a sequence. You are going in a different manner. You are taking, if the priorities of n function is more by the customer, you are taking that function as first priority and you are executing that particular function. And if the next priority is being given for the second one, as second one, you are coming over here and you are executing this particular functionality. So what you are doing, you are not following any sequence of actions to execute your program. You are following your ad hocness. That is, whatever the requirement is there from the customer, that you are trying to fulfill. So when you are trying to fulfill that particular thing, ad hoc design is happening in the evolutionary process model. So when evolutionary process model is taking ad hoc design, your SDLC process is completely missing. So when the SDLC process is completely missing, we are having drawbacks, because one future may come first, the other future may come next. The sequence is not there. Selection is also not there. Iteration is also not there. Okay, clear? Ma, is it clear with your evolutionary process model? No, no. మీదే సిలబస్ వచ్చిందా? సాఫ్ట్వేర్ మీ మనం ఇక్కడే ఉన్నాం ఇంకా ఫస్ట్ యూనిట్ లోనే ఉన్నాను అన్న.
ఫస్ట్ ఇయర్ లో ఉన్నారు.
నీకు ఏంది వాటర్ ఫాల్ మోడల్, ఇటరేటివ్ మోడల్ ఇవన్నీ ఇక్కడ వస్తున్నాయి. ర్యాడ్ ఇవన్నీ అదే.
ఫస్ట్
ఫస్ట్ యూనిట్ మీ సిలబస్ యూనిట్ 2 రోజులు పట్టింది ఈజీగా. నిన్నంతా మనం evolutionary model. So what is the difference between your RAD model and prototyping model? Are they same? Are they same? Which model is containing prototyping and evolutionary model? RAD model is containing prototyping and evolutionary model. Then what is the difference where we are having any difference in RAD model and prototyping model? So let us see what we are doing in prototype usage and how we are doing with the RAD model. Okay. So while coming to the prototype usage, that is prototypes or designs, how they are useful in prototyping model and how they are useful in RAD model. So in prototyping model, how it is used? Prototype. So prototype in the sense what we are getting, architecture we are getting. Okay. So in architecture, what we are looking, we are prototype is used to gain insights. That is, what is the complete architecture of your project? Insights are being known. Then choose alternatives. That is, once your diagram is not satisfied by the user, you have to go for the next diagram. That is, if first diagram is not satisfied, then you have to go for the second architecture. That is one case. So in first diagram and second diagram, you are showing or you are seeing the insights, that is final outcome of that particular product. And if you are not satisfied, that is customer is not satisfied, you are going for the second option, that is choose alternatives, and then elicit customer feedback. Okay. So then you are getting the feedback from the customer for this particular model. If the user is not satisfied, then you are moving on to the second one. Again, you are getting the feedback. If the user is satisfied, then you are proceeding with the prototype. Otherwise, you are going for the next one. Okay. So finally, the code is usually discarded. So what we are doing in prototyping model, simply we are showing with the prototype. That is only architecture is being shown and the complete architecture insights, how it is doing, what it is doing is not shown. Only prototype is shown and accepted from the customers. So what we are doing in RAD model, so prototype evolves into the deliverable software. Okay. So here only architecture is shown in prototyping model. In RAD model, we are showing it in the deliverable model. That is, so whatever the architecture we are showing over here, we are writing the code and we are delivering the product to the customer in your RAD model. So, but we are not doing it in the prototyping model, right? So incorporating customer feedback and iteratively. So how we are doing it? How we are delivering the project? We are taking the customers feedback for the first product, that is first architecture, and we are writing the code, we are testing it and we are delivering it. So if the customer is not satisfied with this one, again we are going to go for the second one. We are again going for the writing of code, then we are again going for testing, then we are again going for the deployment for the customer. So this is what we are doing in prototyping model and your RAD model, right? So what that is the difference of usage, how we are using the prototypes in RAD model and prototype model. So which one is best, RAD model or prototype model? Which one is the best option according to the perspective of customer? Which model is the best one? Which model is the best one? RAD model will be the best preferable one because he is also getting the complete product when he is opting for the RAD model. When he is opting for the prototype, he is getting only the architecture, but he is not getting the entire code and the deliverable project. Okay. So then how it is different from your iterative waterfall model? How it is different from your iterative waterfall model? What we are doing in iterative waterfall model? What we are doing in iterative waterfall model? Finally, the project is delivered or not delivered. In all the in all the SDLC life cycles, final outcome is product delivery, right? So what we are doing in iterative waterfall model? So whatever the changes are there in the project or in the product, we are again checking with the debugs, we are modifying it, and we are again delivering it to the customers. That is done. So what we are doing in RAD model, again we are showing with the diagram, that is architecture. We are writing the code, we are testing it, we are doing the all the maintenance, and we are going for the deployment. Right. So then how it is different from your RAD model? Iterative waterfall model, how it is different from your RAD model? So with respect to your development approach, what you are doing in what iterative waterfall model? Iterative waterfall model. Speak about the functionalities. So in this diagram, you are having only three functionalities. So in iterative waterfall model, how you are developing? How you are developing? Are they developed together or one after the other? So at a time, we can go for the development when we are going for your iterative waterfall model. So while coming to your RAD model, what we are doing? We are doing it one function after the other. That is, we are going with the first function, second function, and the third function. In iterations, we are doing it. So that is how the difference is in the RAD model and iterative waterfall model. So in iterative waterfall model, all functionals are or functionalities are developed together. Okay. So all these functionalities are developed together in iterative waterfall model. Whereas coming to RAD model, product functionalities are developed incrementally with heavy code and design reuse. Okay. So what we are doing? So A is developed first, B is developed next, C is developed next based on the priority in RAD model. So what about the customer feedback? What about the customer feedback in waterfall model? What is the customer feedback in iterative waterfall model? Are we including separately any customer feedback? We are just taking the customer feedback and we are proceeding with the documentation and all the process. While coming to the RAD model, compulsory we are involving the customer and we are also maintaining the documentation for the customer feedback. Okay. So in iterative waterfall model, no mechanism to accommodate requirement change request easily. Right. So when you are going for the uh, iterative model, that is waterfall model, whatever the changes are there that are not going to be accommodated very easily. But when it is coming for the RAD model, you can go for the changes. Depending on the cost, you can go for the changes depending on the user's requirements. Okay. So these are the differences between the various models with the RAD models. One is first we have seen the prototyping model and then we are seeing the iterative waterfall model. Are they clear? Clear? So then you can see the difference of RAD model with the evolutionary model. What is the difference between the RAD model and the evolutionary model? So what is the RAD model is doing? So in both the cases, they are doing the incremental development when it is coming for RAD model and evolutionary model. Both are same when you are going for the models. That is incremental development is same for both RAD model and evolutionary model. Then where it is coming difference? Prototype design, how the RAD model prototype is being designed, how the evolutionary model prototype is being designed. In RAD model, how we are designing, how we are going for designing in RAD model and how we are going for designing in evolutionary model. In evolutionary model, how the functionalities are being categorized, how the functionalities or the user requirements are categorized. Are you giving any priorities for the functionalities or requirements for the users in evolutionary model? Are you giving any priorities for the requirements of the user in evolutionary model? Yes, are you giving it or not? Any priorities are given in evolutionary model? Which method you are following? Agile method or systematic method in RAD model? RAD model, what you are following? Systematic or systematic way you are following, or in evolutionary model you are following it in systematic? Wow, where you are giving priorities, evolutionary model or RAD model? Where you are giving priorities for the functionalities of the users? Priorities where you are giving in evolutionary models, sorry, in RAD models, you are giving the priorities and you are executing your programs or functionalities depending on your requirements. Okay. So while coming to your evolutionary models, you are following some procedure, that is this functionality has to be executed first, followed by this functionality, followed by this one, followed by this one. Like that, you are giving some sequence and executing. Okay. So while coming to the RAD model, each increment results in a quick and dirty prototype. RAD model, what you are doing? You are incrementing your functionalities one after the other, but there is no priority. That is, there is priority of the customer, but there is no matching of functionality with one another. Finally, you have to integrate, but there is no matching at all. So, but while coming to the evolutionary model, you are categorizing the sequence, you are executing in a systematic manner. Okay. So then what about the increment length? Increment length. So by saying this, you can answer. So this one is going to have the shorter period of time, that is short length, and evolutionary model is going to have your big functionality, that is big length, when it is coming for the increment length. Okay. So because you are having functionalities decided, prioritized, and everything is available when you are moving with the RAD model, and when you are going with the evolutionary model, you are following the systematic view and completeness of that particular project. Okay. So which is taking us a lengthy process to complete the entire project, right? So that is related to the difference of various aspects with respect to your RAD model with all the other models. Are we clear so far? Yes. Are we clear so far? So what we have seen, let us once again recap. So first thing, what we have seen the prototyping model, where you are having how the prototyping model is based on the architecture of the complete diagram, or the part of your complete product has to be shown to the customer. If the customer is going to satisfy, then you are going to go for the next phase, that is design, coding part, testing part, implementation part, and maintenance part, that you are going to do. When you are going to go for the prototyping model, you are having advantages and you are having drawbacks, as it is having the process of iteration. So what are the advantages including? Sorry. So better understanding of the project, it can be very much useful. Then, sorry, risk management, that is risk mitigation. We are going with the prototyping model. Next, better communication. We are going with the, sorry, we are going with the prototyping model. Next, for user feedback and better performance of the project, we are going with the RAD, sorry, prototyping model. So when you are having advantages, you are also having the drawbacks. As three drawbacks we are having over there, prototyping model. What are those three different drawbacks? Sorry, uh, sorry, intensive is there. That is resource intensive is there. That is when the customer is coming for the request, and if he is expecting more, the resource intention is going to be happening, which is leading to the misleading of performance, which is also leading to the functionality incompleteness. Okay, three futures are given as your drawbacks in your first model, that is prototyping model, right? So then we have seen what is the concept that we have seen next. After completing your first concept, that is prototyping model, incremental incremental development model. What you are doing in incremental development model? So you are going for the multiple number of increments based on the customer's requirement. One after the other, you are going for the increment. So when you are going for the multiple number of increments also, you are having some drawbacks and you are having some advantages. So the drawbacks include drawbacks. So when you are moving for the incremental model, that is incremental development model, the cost is going to be increased because the requirements are again and again increasing. But when you are going for the developing of incremental development model, the flexibility is more because based on the choice of the customer, based on the choice of the user, that is developer, we are going for the incrementation of the particular model and we are going to go for the execution of that particular project. Then what is the concept that we have seen? Next, then we have seen the concept of your evolutionary process model or evolutionary models. What you have seen in evolutionary models? Number of increments are getting more or less. Number of increments are getting more. That is functionalities you are adding it to the customer's requirement more and more. So when you are adding more and more to the customers, what is happening? Cost is increasing or reducing? Cost is increasing, right? So then we came to see the concept of RAD model. So what is RAD model? So it is the combination of your prototyping model and your evolutionary process model. So what you are doing in RAD model? So we are combinedly doing the process of your prototyping model and the evolutionary process models to build a particular project. And then we have seen the differences between the RAD model and the RAD versus your prototyping model, RAD versus your iterative models, RAD versus your evolutionary models, right? So this is what we have seen so far. It is clear? Ma, again I need to ask again and again for the backbenchers, I think. Is it clear? మా అక్కడ రామ్మా లాస్ట్ లో ఉన్నారు మా ఫ్రెండ్స్ మిగిలిపోయి వాళ్ళు చెప్పాలి ఎస్ బాయ్స్ క్లియర్ shall we move on to the next one? Right, so moving on to the next one. So this one we have finished, that is we have compared all the RAD model, sorry, we have compared all the other models with the RAD models and we came to a conclusion of which model is better when we are comparing these models. Okay, so the next concept which we are going to see is your agile development models. Okay, agile development models, right? So the agile development model was proposed in mid 1990s to overcome the shortcomings of the waterfall model. Okay, so whenever we are having waterfall model, we are also having some drawbacks. To overcome those drawbacks, we came up with a solution called as agile methodology or agile development process. Okay, so it emphasizes flexibility, quick adoption to change requests, and close collaboration with the customers. So what this agile development is doing, it is having more flexibility than the waterfall model. It is having quick adaptation to the change requests. So whatever the requests that are coming from the customer end, it is having more frequent change of request. That is, quick adoption is there when we are comparing with the waterfall model. And then it is having the close collaboration with the customers. Okay. So when you are having waterfall model, you may be contacting the customer maybe after the phase, or maybe after 2 phases, or maybe after 3 phases. When you are coming with the agile methodology, you have to be regularly in touch with the customer so that your project is going to be very much effective. That is the advantage which we are having when you are going with the agile methodology. Okay. So coming to the key characteristics, what are this agile methodology or agile models are going to provide for the users? So it is going to have the increment and iterative approach. So what we are having in waterfall model and iterative waterfall model, do we have the same process? We are having the same process because we are having iterative waterfall model where we are having iterative approach only, right? So iterative approach is there, incremental approach is also there when we are moving on to the some other process. So the both futures are included in the agile methodology or agile model. When we are going for the key characteristics, incremental and iterative approach is available in the agile model or agile development, right? So requirements are decomposed into small parts that can be developed incrementally. So what we are doing, requirements are divided into small parts. So when you are having n number of requirements, right? So these n number of requirements are categorized or divided into small portion of requirements, and we are coming up with the solution for these requirements at a time, these requirements at a time, and we are coming with the solution in a incremental model. Okay. How we are coming for the solutions? We are coming with the solutions in incrementally, right? So we are doing with this solution first, and then again we are adding the this part of solution to it, right? If you are having more number of questions, then we are having more number of increments as well. Okay. So each iteration lasts for a couple of weeks and focuses on the delivering a small manageable increment. So how we are coming out with? We are coming out from the customer. So with the solution in a small number of weeks itself. Okay. So when you are going for the big projects, these increments or these characteristics are going to be divided into small pieces, and we are coming up with the solution in a short span of time, right? So the coming to the customer involvement, continuous interaction with customers, including having a customer representative in the development team, is also included when we are going for the agile development model. Okay, what we are saying, continuously we are having representation from the customer end, or continuously we are having representation or continuous involvement of customer is there in the model we are saying. So how it is involved? So either the customer is going to involve in the project directly or indirectly, or he is going to nominate a person or a representative will be kept in the organization or in the team on behalf of him to represent the particular project. Okay. So that is how the customer involvement is going to be in the agile development model. Frequent delivery of incremental version of gathering feedback and re-evaluate the requirements, right? So which is leading to the frequently gathering or collecting of requirements is taking place. So as soon as this is taking place, what is happening? The functionalities are also going to be either increased, or functionalities are also going to be decreased depending on the project, because we are having a representative in the company or on behalf of customer in the company itself. Okay. So when you are having multiple number of requirements, they are going to increase and it is going to be performed, right? So when it is coming for the time period, so each iteration is planned. That is communication phase. It is planned for few days or few months. Next, planning is also planned for few months. Next, designing is also planned for few months. Then coding is also planned for few months, right? So what we are doing, we are limiting all the phases to be completed, or it has to be completed by the organization in a stipulated period of time. That is the restriction that we are keeping in the agile development model. Okay. So here each iteration is planned within a fixed time frame called a time box. The delivery date is considered as the sacrosanct. Through the delivered functionality may be adjusted if necessary. Right. So as on day, if I am giving you the project, the duration will be fixed from the customer end as 2 years. So you can involve 25 to 30 members, but you have to deliver the project. If it is 24th of February 2025 as on date, so you have to deliver 23rd of February 2027. So when the time bound is fixed, that is 2 years of duration, you will be working more on your particular project, which has to be delivered for the customer within 2 years tenure. So when the customer is fixing you the tenure, you will be strictly working on that particular product itself. So when there is no time fixation, you are not going to work on it because you will be thinking of doing it later, just like how you are doing it for your assignments. So when you are having deadline for submission of your assignment, you will be writing it. So when you are having deadline later part of your semester, you will be thinking that, okay, I will write later. The date is long ago, right? So similar cases happening over here when we are seeing it in the point of deadline. Okay, deadline is fixed. For 2 years, you have to develop the project, you have to deliver it. So if it is not done, the customer is going to give based on the request by the organization, he may be giving 6 months of time or 1 year of tenure extra. Okay. So if that time is also wasted, then your project can be thrown into the dustbin. Okay. So, but the customer is not going to accept your project because he has invested more money. He has invested 3 years of time or 2.5 years of time. So definitely he is going to expect you the product. Okay. So the time box is going to be there and face-to-face communication is also going to be available when you are going to go for the agile development process. Okay. So you are having four different key characteristics. That is incremental and iterative approach. Customer involvement will be there. Time box will be there and face-to-face communication will be there when you are going to go for the agile development model. So what it is, agile development model. So it is emphasizing on the flexibility, quick adaptation to change requests, and close collaboration with the customers. Okay. So it is also having the systematic approach of developing the project, but the customer involvement is more when compared with the iterative models. Okay. So here we are having the principles. Okay. So we are saying it is also similar to waterfall model, but we are having some differences where the customer involvement is more rather than the waterfall model. We are having more number of involvement of customer in this particular project. Okay. So like that, we are saying n number of reasons. So that should include and inculcate few futures where it is showing. Okay. So here it is showing the principles of agile models. What are all those principles? Just let us see. Right. So what the agile model is going to give us? It is going to give us good communication. It is going to give us the time box. It is going to give us the good product. It is going to give us the incremental and prototyping models. All these things can be available with the help of your agile methodology. Right. So the same case, we are having the principles as well. Okay. So what is the first principle that we are having? So that is working software, then frequently delivery is expected, then accommodating changes is going to be expected, team collaboration has to be checked, customer collaboration has to be checked, pair programming also has to be checked. Okay. So when it is coming for the working software, prioritizes working software over comprehensive documentation. Okay. So when you are going for the agile methodology, you are also going to check for the prioritization of working of software over the documentation, right? So next case, you are going to check for the frequent delivery, right? So how you are going to check? As it is involving incremental model, you are going to check for the functionalities, whether the first functionality is delivered or not. So if it is delivered, if second functionality is delivered or not. If it is also delivered, the process is continuing or not, you are going to check. Okay. So that is how you are going to check your frequent delivery. Functionalities, you are dividing it in small parts. Those functionalities you have to go for the delivery. Then you are going to check for the accommodating changes. Right. So if first functionality is being delivered to the customer, right? So if the customer is asking for any change, is it going to be accepted? Any changes that are being requested by the customer, are we going to modify? Right? So if it is acceptable, you are going to modify. If it is not acceptable, you are going to deny. But there is no option of deny. You have to accept. You are going for changes of the first model, that is first to prototype, you are going to change, and then you are going to go for the second functionality, then you are going to go for the third functionality, then you are going to go for the next functionality. Okay, so that is accommodating changes has to be there. Then team collaboration has to be there. So when the functionalities are being developed by n number of people, the team collaboration also makes the major role, because all the functionalities we are working for the welfare of the customer. So when you are writing the code for a particular functionality, if X is writing, that is, if three members are involved in a team, if one person is coming up with one functionality, second person is writing in different way, third person is writing in some other way, that does not make any sense. So everyone has to work together for the benefit of this particular functionality itself. That is where we are focusing on the team collaboration. Then customer collaboration, whether the functionalities are given by the managers are perfect or not, the customer is going to check. Okay. That is, after completion of each and every functionality, you are going to involve with the customer. Then you are going to check with your functionalities. Then you are going to go for the further proceedings. And finally, you are going to go for the pair programming. That is, deploys a pair programming where two programmers work together, producing well-written program with fewer errors. Okay, that is, when team is working, that has to make sense. When two persons are working, that also has to make sense with respect to your particular project. Okay, so is it clear? But clear? Agile development models. Is it clear what we are doing in agile development models? But what you are doing in agile development models? Ah, so do we have any drawbacks in waterfall model? Do we have any drawbacks in waterfall model? Yes, do we have any drawbacks in waterfall model? Yes, this side. Do we have any drawbacks in waterfall model? Left side, people. Do we have any drawbacks? So last, right side, last benches. Do we have any drawbacks? So when we are having drawbacks, we are going with the solution for the drawbacks. Which method we are adopting? Yes. Ma, which method we are adopting? We are adopting with the agile development models to overcome the waterfall model drawbacks, we are going with the agile development model. So what is the advantage of adopting waterfall model? Is what is the advantage of adopting waterfall model? Adopting waterfall model. What is the advantage? Yes, I said two options. One is everything understood. The other one is everything went waste. Is what is when we are going for why we are going for adaptation of agile models? Why you are going for adaptation of agile models? Yes. What is the necessity? Yes. What is the necessity of going for agile models? Yes. The screen is also displayed for you on the screen. That is, your answer is displayed. I am again asking you the question. You are not answering. So why you are going for agile methodology? That is agile development. So for its flexibility, so for its quick adaptation of solutions, and for its collaboration with customers. Okay. So for quick adaptation of any product, we are going with the agile development model. For adaptation of new changes or for adaptation of changes, we are going for the agile development. And for customer involvement, we are going with the agile development. Okay. Then what are the characteristics, key characteristics that the agile development is having? Incremental and iterative approach. So how we are doing with incremental and iterative approach in agile development? Do we have any changes or are we going with the evolutionary model itself? Do we have any changes or we are going with the same evolutionary process model? Some changes are there. What are the changes that we are adopting? So here, n number of requirements are categorized under small parts. Those small parts are going to be performing for the task, and that task we are going to again increment. Okay. So first part of task we are completing, then task next to priority task we are completing and we are making it as the increment, right? So and this process is continuing till the completion of the project and the needs of the customer. Then next characteristic is customer involvement is more when we are going with the agile development, right? So we are keeping a representative in the team or we are keeping a customer is completely involving in the team or customer is completely involving in the project for the entire process. Customer or representative is included in the project. Next characteristic is we are limiting the execution of the project or completion of the project to a certain time limits. Next one is face to face communication is happening when we are going with the agile development. Clear? So next what we have seen? We have seen the principles. So what are all those key characteristics are there? Again, they are categorized under few principles, right? So first principle is working software. Next one is frequent delivery. Next one is accommodating changes, team collaboration, customer collaboration, and pair programming. Okay. So we are following set of principles to complete a particular project. Okay. Clear? So you're writing running notes or simply keeping it aside? You're writing? Then it is good. Then we have seen the advantages, that is flexibility and adaptability of the project, reduced development time, improved communication, enhanced team dynamics, And the drawbacks include your resources intensive again, because you are doing it in the agile methodology where customer is involved again and again in your requirements gathering, requirements planning, requirements design, requirements doing with all the process. Customer is involved. He is asking for the change. So resource intensive is there again, and you are going with the scalability and the documentation as drawbacks for your agile methodology. Then we will come to see the agile methodology and all the other models. Then we can close the particular session. Okay. వస్తుంది. ఇంకెన్ని ఉన్నాయని చూస్తున్నా. సరే సరే దాన్ని ఫస్ట్ దాన్ని అజయ్ సరే ఏదో ఒకటి రాని ఫస్ట్. సరే ఎండ్ షో స్లైడ్స్ ఎండ్ షో కొట్టేసి షేర్ చేయాలనుకుంటా కదా, షేర్ చేస్తే వస్తుంది జూమ్ లో షేర్. మరి ఎందుకు రావట్లేదు? ఇదే ఓకే. Yes, if you are writing your running notes, you can refer to your running notes. Okay. And no need of making noise. Write check with your running nodes. Don't open your mouths. That is, don't tell the works to your mouths. You can read with your eyes. Okay. You said you are writing your running notes, right? So just open your running notes. So till the problem is solved, you can read your running notes. సరే మెయిల్ ఉంది కదా మెయిల్ ఓపెన్ చేసి మళ్ళీ డౌన్లోడ్ చేయండి మొత్తం ప్రొఫెసర్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేయండి నేను దానికి సపోర్ట్ వచ్చింది పార్ట్ 2 చేయండి అంటే అందులో అది డౌన్లోడ్ చేసి దీనిలో కంటిన్యూ చేసి మధ్యాహ్నం సాల్వ్ చేస్తావా మధ్యాహ్నం చూస్తావా స్లైడ్ అయినా స్లైడ్స్ నెక్స్ట్ Right. So just like we have seen the comparisons for just like we have seen the comparisons for your RAD model, let us now compare with your agile methodology with all the other models. That is iterative waterfall model. We are going to check. Then the remaining procedures we are going to check. Okay. So first let us check with your agile model with your iterative waterfall model. What is the difference or what are the key differences that we are having with agile model and iterative waterfall model? Okay. So when it is coming for the development approach, what it is happening systematically, waterfall model is doing the entire process, and agile model is measuring the progress in terms of developed and delivered functionalities. So here waterfall model is systematically doing with the requirements capture, analysis, specification, design, coding and all, and agile model is focusing on the progress. Okay. So progress in terms of your developed and delivered project, right? So when it is coming for the progress measurement, see the waterfall model is measured on the completed and reviewed artifacts. When it is coming for the agile model, it is delivered functionalities and frequent iterations. Okay. So when it is coming for the mid project cancellations, waterfall model is cancelled midway, but when it is cancelled, the customer is leaving the project, then only it can be cancelled. That is your agile model, right? Clear, right? So how it is happening in development approach, waterfall model is following the systematic process from top to bottom. That is six requirements gathering till the deployment. So how it is following agile model? So it is measuring the progress based on the functionalities that are being developed and that are being delivered. So whereas coming for the waterfall model, it is focusing on the each and every aspect of the project, right? So when it is coming to the progress measurement, how the progress is measured in waterfall model. So based on your completed and reviewed artifacts, the measures are measured. That is, the progress is measured. So when it is coming for the agile model, delivered functionalities and frequencies, it is sorry, frequency of iterations and delivered functionalities, it is measured for the progress measurement in agile methodology. Right? So when it is coming for the midway project cancellation, you can cancel your project anywhere in the mid of your project when you are going for the first phase, that is waterfall model. So when it is coming for the agile model, when the customer is leaving the organization or when the customer is involvement is not there, at that point of time only you can cancel your complete project. That is midway project cancellation. That is the intention. Okay. So this part we will continue in our afternoon session. Up to here we are clear. Yes, up to here it is clear. Right. So we can continue further in the afternoon session. Right. Yes, if you are having any doubts, you can raise your hand. I will be coming to you and I will be clarifying your doubts. Okay. Yes, any problems or any doubts, you can